Okay, now let's break down what's actually in this peace agreement, if you want to call it that. First off, I'm I'm personally not going to be congratulating as I as I've seen some Republicans, some MAGA influencers and Republicans have already been doing, President Trump for reaching this agreement. I don't believe he deserves accolades or praise for ending a war that he started. With that, let me say that I believe that this is a bad deal for the United States. And why is it a bad deal? And why is it a bad deal? Trump basically capitulated and pretty much gave in to every single one of Iran's demands. Basically gave them everything they were asking for here. The 14 clauses of the framework or the memorandum of understanding, which have been agreed to, include a 60-day window set to negotiate. The 60-day window has a 60-day window has been set to negotiate a final deal regarding Iran's nuclear program, along with a total lifting of sanctions. Before negotiations are to begin, Trump has apparently agreed to liquidate or unfreeze $12 billion of frozen Iranian assets and an additional $12 billion during the 60-day negotiating window. Oil and petrochemical sanctions will also be lifted, and the United States will lift its full naval blockade of Iranian ports within 30 days. Furthermore, the United States has agreed to non-interference in Iranian affairs, withdrawal of U.S. forces from around Iran, and an immediate ceasefire is to be imposed on all fronts, including on Lebanon. Something that it should be added that Israel, which launched some drone strikes last night on Beirut, is saying that they're not subordinate to the United States, and that basically saying that they're not in agreement with these terms. And additionally, the state of Hormuz will reopen within 30 days under Iranian arrangements. And that really is not a victory for the United States, since it basically just goes, since the strait was open before we began our bombing campaign on February 28th. And basically, Iran wasn't in control of then either. Iran reaffirms its NPT commitment, Non-Proliferation Treaty commitment, to not produce nuclear weapons, and the United States and allies are to present reconstruction plans that are worth at least $300 billion, or in other words, reparations. Not included in the memorandum of understanding on the agenda is mention of Iran's missile programs or support for terrorist groups. Final negotiations won't begin until the $12 billion are liquidated, oil sanctions and the naval blockade are lifted. This this persona that which Trump has created, that he's a good backroom deal maker, negotiator, is basically bullcrap. He's not. This, he's a bad negotiator. He's actually really a bad negotiator. It makes me wonder that this actually is making me wonder whether when he was back in New York in the real estate, back in New York real estate, whether when he would be negotiating, whether he would be completely giving into the other side's demands during negotiations like this. But of course, the Trump White House will somehow spin this as a victory.